You may be considering OLED for its perfect blacks, or its incredibly thin design, or its bright and vibrant colours. Whatever reason you're choosing an OLED for, this might be the OLED for everybody. Let's take a closer look. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. So just for full disclosure, LG are sponsoring this video. They've sent me this TV for me to review. However, they've not asked me to say anything good or bad about it, and every single thought that I express, good or bad, will be my own genuine opinion. Right, I've been really excited about looking at this TV because this is the entry-level LG OLED. Links for latest price and full information are in the description. Now, there's not much difference about all of the gump that you get inside. It's absolutely standard. You do get the 2021 remote control, which is a nice touch, but the next thing that you get, which is something which is very new for all of these OLEDs, is the completely different stand. You get these two legs, and that's probably what makes this a little bit more affordable. Now, these legs are still very nice to look at, but they're very, very simple. There's almost like a shininess on the front of them and a matte to the back, which I think looks good. They're labelled helpfully A and B, so you're not going to put these in the wrong side of the TV. Now, as always, be very careful with your TV. Lay it down on the polystyrene or on the box, and then before you take off any of the protective packaging around the screen, pop those legs in and just screw them up. Next, remember to take off the film from the back. I don't think it'd make that much difference, but it may have a heat problem if you left it on, and then do the same with obviously the protective layer on the front. And that's it, we're pretty much close to setting up. And I do have to say, like every single OLED I've seen before, it looks absolutely brilliant. Just run through a few of the setup screens. This is where you'll choose your location, set up your Wi-Fi and things like that, and literally within probably 5 or 6 minutes you'll be set up. Choose whether you want AI functions on. This is the extra detail that you'll get within the picture, and also the artificial intelligence sound, which again I think is definitely worth having. Right guys, I absolutely love the look of an OLED, and this one, even though it's the entry-level model, is absolutely no different at all. And in fact, there's bits about this being on legs which I really, really like, because it means it's the perfect size potentially for a soundbar. We'll check that out in just 1 second. So this is the 55-inch model, and that's got a gap of around 42 inches. Obviously, the bigger TVs will have a bigger gap, and one thing to bear in mind is that the leg positioning is just a single option. You don't get an option to put it in slightly narrower. Okay, so I'm trying this with my Sonos Beam, and it absolutely fits like a glove. So that is one of the big advantages, because on previous models you don't have that ability, because you do get that sloping stand on something like the C1 and also the B1. Now, I'm sure most people know what OLED is compared to LED or LCD. But if you don't, it's very simple. It's all about the technology. And what OLED offers is infinite contrast. This means that each individual pixel can be turned off. And this gives you the most perfect blacks. And that's why when you looked at that image right at the very beginning, it was just incredible. It's almost like looking at a photograph printed in a magazine. Now, an LCD TV doesn't have these self-lit pixels, and so therefore they can't be turned off, which means you'll never ever get as good blacks on an LCD or an LED TV as what you will do on an OLED TV. Now, there are some restrictions because of this. It means that because they're so dark and because the blacks are so perfect, that these TVs tend to be more prone to reflections, and so therefore they're better used in a room with less windows and less natural light. But that's probably when most people are watching TV anyway. So if you've got a really bright room, then maybe an OLED is not going to be for you, or maybe you just want to draw a blind, close a curtain, for instance. But as you can see, in this type of setup that I've got here, where I've got a blind closed behind, it just looks absolutely stunning, and the brightness and the contrast really ping. Now, when this TV was first announced, I was a little concerned that they were going to be taking out all of the main features that make the LG range of OLEDs so attractive. But it's good news, guys. They haven't. This still has Dolby Vision IQ and Dolby Atmos. It also has that filmmaker mode, which is designed to recreate exactly what the director wanted you to see. It turns off motion smoothing while preserving the original aspect, colors and frame rates of the actual movie. This also has Motion Pro, and that's advanced motion handling. It reduces motion blur so that if you're watching sporting events, for instance, you're not going to have too many issues. This TV has the slightly older A7 Generation 4 processor, and I did find that it was a little bit slower, just marginally, going through different menu screens. In terms of the operating software, well, it's their latest web OS, and that is the same no matter which model you have. And it's something which I've grown to like more and more since moving away from last year's older version. This home screen can also be personalized. If you sign into your LG account, it will give you some more recommendations, and also you've got the option to different apps and have them in different order. It's very easy and very just intuitive how it's set up. You've also got the same feature as on more expensive models, the home dashboard, and this is where you can connect to your home of Internet of Things devices if you've got other LG products, for instance, or things like Hue light bulbs. You can also go into your different sources from here, and it's very easy to operate. The LG OLED is available in 4 different sizes, starting at 48 inches, going to 55, 65, and finally an absolutely gorgeous 77-inch model. From a design perspective, there doesn't seem to be any difference between the chassis and the actual casing of the A1 OLED compared to the others in the range. And in actual fact, when you spin it round the back, you can see it's got the same cutout, which actually does fit the stand from the B1 and also the C1. This does have just one less HDMI port compared to the others in the range, and they are all HDMI 2.0, not 2.1. This means that you're getting a 60Hz panel and you're not getting the 4K at 120Hz, which you get on some of the more expensive models. Now, if you're not into gaming, well then that probably won't necessarily be a bad thing for you, and you may just want to save a little bit of cash. One thing that this does have is, which most TVs are having nowadays, is the eye comfort. So low blue light and options for flicker free, where you can change the settings. So for instance, if you're watching TV at night, it becomes less tiresome. Now, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a head-to-head between this and the C1, because I'm very happy to do that, and it could be the difference between you deciding whether to go for this one or going for the C1. Right, on to gaming. Now, this does have Game Optimizer built in, which is one of the newer features that's come out on the TVs this year, the 2021 models. But because of the lack of HDMI 2.1, it does mean it's going to be a slightly more pared back version. You haven't got things like VRR, variable refresh rate, or FreeSync. Where I think Game Optimizer does work quite well is if you're playing a game, for instance, and you're going from one game, like I was playing Motor Racing a second ago, to this one, which is Outriders, and it can be quite dark, then I might want to go into the Game Optimizer, and here I can go and change things like black stabilizer or white stabilizer. And again, if you're playing late at night, then you might want to reduce the blue light. I do have to say that sometimes it is very easy to get too worked up on specs. Looking at the spec sheet from one TV to another, the reality is I own the LG C1, I've got the LG B10, and now I've got this, the LG A1, and without putting them side by side, I think that it's very difficult to just see any difference. I've been into all 3 rooms where those TVs are, and I can't really tell the difference. It's very convincing to go for the A1. Now, it's not going to be for everyone. We've already talked about the gamers out there, but if you're looking for a TV that's got exceptional viewing angles, that delivers black level detail like nothing else, then this is going to be something that you really do need to consider. The TV, in terms of its upscaling, even with the slightly inferior processor, is absolutely stunning. You know, normal TV just looks amazing. And when you put something very special on the screen, well, it's going to be a TV that you just don't look back from. Guys, that's my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thank you so much again for watching this video. I hope it's been useful for you. And again, just let me know quickly in the comments. Would you like me to see a LG A1 versus C1 head-to-head? The links for this product are in the description. Be sure to check them out. You'll get the latest price there as well. Thank you again, my friends.